Imagine post-war Japan, factories ruined, fuel scarce, roads broken, a country rebuilding itself on bicycles. Now picture one stubborn mechanic who looks at a pile of scrap engines and thinks, I can make people move again. That mechanic was Soichiro Honda, and his obsession with engineering, plus a fearless business partner, would grow into one of the most influential mobility companies on Earth. Suddenly, people could travel farther, faster, and with a smile on their face. The joy of motion was reborn. So next time you hop on your bike or rev up your engine, remember the stubborn mechanic who dared to dream big in the face of adversity. A legacy built on movement, innovation, and pure passion. Soichiro Honda was born in 1906 in a small village. He loved machines more than school. As a teenager, he moved to Tokyo, became a garage apprentice, and fell in love with speed and problem-solving. By the late 1930s, he started making piston rings. The first batches were bad. Toyota rejected them. Instead of quitting, Soichiro studied manufacturing, rebuilt his process, and finally delivered rings that met Toyota's standards. That pattern, fail fast, learn faster, became his life's blueprint. World War II devastated his factory, and after the war he sold what was left. But he didn't lose the itch to build. In 1946, Soichiro founded the Honda Technical Research Institute, attaching surplus generators to bicycles to create tiny motorbikes for everyday people. 2 years later, in 1948, it officially became Honda Motor Komon Ltd, with Soichiro as the engineering heart. In 1949, Honda released its first fully in-house motorcycle, the Dream D-Type. It was called Dream because the company's mission wasn't just transportation, it was hope, independence, and dignity. Soichiro was a genius builder, but Honda needed a genius seller. Enter Takeo Fujisawa in 1949. Fujisawa handled money, strategy, and distribution. Soichiro handled engines and ideas. Their partnership is one of the great duos in business history. While Soichiro chased technical perfection, Fujisawa built the network to scale it. In 1958, Honda released a small motorcycle that redefined mobility. The Super Cub. Step-through frame, protected chain, reliable engine, easy to ride. It wasn't scary, it was friendly. It became the best-selling motor vehicle in history, spreading from Japan to Southeast Asia, Europe, and America. Honda didn't just sell bikes. They sold the idea that mobility should be accessible to everyone. Honda's DNA was forged in racing. In the late 1950s, they entered the Isle of Man TT, then the highest stage of motorcycle competition. Racing for Honda wasn't marketing, it was R&D at extreme limits. Everything learned on the track went back into street machines. Lighter parts, higher RPMs, better cooling, reliability under abuse. Soichiro wanted more than motorcycles. In the early 1960s, Honda released its first cars, tiny trucks and sports cars. But the real breakthrough came in the 1970s with the Civic. At a time of oil shocks and strict US emissions rules, Honda created the CVCC engine, allowing the Civic to meet regulations without a catalytic converter. It was clean, efficient, and affordable, and it exploded in popularity in Japan and the US. If the Super Cub gave Asia 2 wheels, the Civic gave the world a smart everyday car. In 1976, the Accord arrived, larger, more refined, still efficient. It became a symbol of practical quality. Honda expanded manufacturing globally and especially in North America, proving Japanese engineering could be built at scale abroad. Then in 1986, Honda launched Acura, the first dedicated Japanese luxury brand in the US, a bold move that broke the idea that Japanese cars can't be premium. Honda's reputation wasn't only reliability, it was character. Their engines loved revs. The 1989 VTEC system became legendary, switching cam profiles for both efficiency and high RPM power. And in 1990, Honda built the NSX, a supercar that proved precision engineering could be daily drivable. It wasn't about ego, it was about demonstrating what Honda engineers dreamed of. Honda never saw itself as only an auto company. They built generators, lawn equipment, marine engines. Anywhere a small, reliable engine could improve life. In 2000, they unveiled ASIMO, a humanoid robot that became an icon of robotics research. And in aviation, Honda launched the HondaJet, translating aerodynamic obsession into the sky. Same philosophy, different arenas. Compact power, human-friendly design. the 2020s, electrification and reality check. Honda pledged carbon neutrality by 2050 and rolled out major EV plans. They partnered with GM for early EV models, while developing their own future platforms. But by 2025, the EV market slowed in key regions. Honda publicly adjusted course, reducing near-term EV investment and betting hard on next-gen hybrids, aiming for a large hybrid lineup starting 2027 and millions of hybrid sales by 2030. This wasn't quitting electrification. It was classic Honda pragmatism. Build what customers want today to fund what they'll need tomorrow. And just to remind everyone, Honda still has a restless engineering soul. In 2025, Honda successfully tested a reusable rocket launch and landing prototype in Hokkaido, targeting suborbital capability later this decade. Because for Honda, mobility doesn't stop at roads. From scrap engines on bicycles to motorcycles that moved continents, from Civics to supercars, from robots to jets to rockets, Honda is not a brand built on hype. It's built on a simple, stubborn promise: engineering that gives people freedom, safety, and joy. And that promise started with one mechanic who refused to accept that his world had to stay broken. Honda, the power of dreams.